Good morning. This is Ron Brown. It's August 6th, 2022. This week and in ensuing weeks, I'm going to be doing something different. I'm not going to put out a market report because everybody puts out market reports and nobody knows what the market's going to do for sure. So I'm going to be spending my time on what I feel is much more productive. First of all, this is my standard risk disclaimer. Any stock index or ETF mentioned in this presentation is not a recommendation to buy or sell. All trading strategies are used at your own risk. If you're not an HGSI user, you should be. You can get a free 30-day trial of it and my Insider Club. Just go to this link. Go to highgrowthstock.com and I'm sure you can find the order page easily. If not, this is the entire link. Now I said I'm going to be doing something different, and what I'm going to be doing on these weekend reports is helping us find easier methods to locate stocks. I notice that on other bulletin boards I look at, it's a real struggle also, and you can spend unbelievable amounts of time looking for stocks. Some people like to do it. I don't mind doing it, but I have other things I would rather be doing on the weekends. Now, in this video, I'm going to be concentrating on HGS Box Stocks and HGS Box Stocks earnings out. To use the Box Stocks Smart Group, anybody can do it, but if you want to use the earnings out version, you have to be a member of the Insider Club because I keep a folder of earnings that are out, and this accesses that folder. Now, I'm doing this video about these two. I'm not doing the video about the rest of these. Those will be videos in upcoming weeks or days if I get some time during the week. So I'm concentrating on these two. And well, I need to bring that back up, sorry. You're going to get a link to the PDF in the Insider Club, and it's going to link to the PDF of these links, if that makes any sense. And you'll just be able to click on any of these links, and just like updating my files or Gil's files or any add-on, a zip file will come down and you'll just install it as an add-on. So you'll be able to pick and choose which user smart groups you want to use in the future. I've got too many user smart groups, I know that, and that's why I am going to put the ones that I find most useful in that PDF file for you to install automatically. Like I said, I'm concentrating on these right now. They're identical, except this group accesses the earnings out folder. I'll just bring up high growth box stocks leaders, and I'm going to edit this. Just double click on it, and you can see that the source group goes to the consistent earnings growth folder. These are updated every day from HGSI and Zacks and bar chart. And then I use a filter outperforming the S&P over 21 days, and the combo ranking is one just called moving up quickly, and it's looking for percentage price change close to the 52-week high and above the moving averages. I use the same group and combo on everything, but I don't use the same filter on the others, and you'll see that. This is the same as this, except stocks $75 or less. These are stocks that are in a counter trend, accessing the same group. These are stocks that have pulled back near the 50-day moving average. Now this group here, what's different, I go to a different, well, the filter's different. I still go to this access this same group, but I'm also requiring group membership in my user groups and the non-index groups stocks with earnings out. And the reason I decided to do this is because I see a lot of people really getting hurt going into earnings. Not so much on our board, the Skype group, or our board, but I see a lot of it in the on the IBD board. They're buying breakouts into earnings, and I just don't understand that process. I guess I learned that a long time ago. It's just you really don't want to do that. So let's take a look at this. Now I am letting all stocks appear, and notice that there are 63 here in the HGS Box Stocks leaders, but when I go to earnings out, that cuts it down to 41 stocks. Same process. These have to have their earnings out. So I'm going to go back up to this one, click on the warehouse view, and here you go, 63. Now you could look right here and see when the earnings are due, but rather than wasting time doing that, just go to the earnings out folder and look down this column. And if you see a date far into the future, that means the earnings are out. But a little caveat here, make sure you check the stock against Thinkorswim, because sometimes these earnings dates are not correct. I mean, that's all there is to it. Earnings dates seem to move around, they get delayed and so on, but most of the time it's good. Now, looking at this, I'm going to just take you across this. This is my scorecard view under Ron's Daily Prospecting Scans, and let's just take a look at this. Well, I'll use SIGA. This is a monkeypox stock. What we see here, the next earnings due is clear up in November, or out in November. Yesterday the volume was very high, spread was wide, and the close was high. These are the Wyckoff indicators in HGSI. You can see this crossed over 10 days ago, 3 crossing the 6, and the VPOC also crossed on that day, RS of 95, Kirkpatrick RS of 99. 5-day performance versus the S&P outperformed the S&P by 35%, and over 10 days it outperformed by 83%. Here's the last close, percentage price change 1 day, beginning of the week, closing range, volume compared to the 90-day moving average volume. Here's the moving average, the 90-day volume, specialty pharma, the industry group change. Now let's go over here a little bit further. This is a HGS box stock. You can see all these are box stocks. VPA flag is bullish. If there's a flag, today's flag, it'll be in here. This is the VPA signal, if there is one. Notice that if there's a color here, it will say yes. And 0 means it happened today. So this will be populated with a color if it happened today. If it's an old signal, it won't be. Like down here, this test for supply was 5 days ago on Console Energy. Let me bring it up here. And here it is right here, 5 days ago. So you can tell how old the signal is. And this is the most recent signal. This is -1 a day back from that. And there's nothing there. So let's go up to this one right here, Reliance Steel and Aluminum. 0. Okay, you can see that it's a box 2 stock. It's bullish, a bullish signal today. VPA flag equals yes, obviously, and it's 0 today. An up bar closing near the high, and then the prior day there was a test for supply. So I bring this up. You can see an up bar closing near the high, and here's one of those low volume tests. A very, very good VPA signal. Notice the earnings growth here. The next earnings are on 10/27. This is my undercut and rally chart from my top-down analysis charts. I'm using this chart more and more because it really shows the crossovers along with VPA plus the industry group plus the earnings. So what do I know? I know the earnings are out, or I'm getting a VPA flag. If you just want to look at stocks that are getting VPA flags today, click on this or this. If it says yes, there's a flag, and then you can see what the flag is. Here's a transfer of ownership. Let's bring that up. You can see that this occurred because it tried to move higher, and then sellers stepped in and took their profits. Let's go to another one here. Here's an effort to rise on ATI Inc. And here it is right here. It's pretty long gone. Here is the crossover back here. Here's the VPOC crossover. There was a pocket pivot the day before, one the day before that. The only reason this is a rose-colored pocket pivot is because it closed lower than the prior day. It's really not that much of a sell signal. Volume was a little heavier. It ran into resistance, but the 3 remained above the 6 on this stock. Now, a lot of these stocks are good. Remember, these are outperforming the S&P over 21 days, so a lot of these stocks may be gone. But if you're looking for leadership stocks whose earnings are out, this is a good place to look. Now, here is another low volume test on this stock. It's in an uptrend, gapped up on earnings, shakeout, and now it's getting a decent signal. That's a stock that you should watch on Monday or add to a watch list. I'm going to go back. I'm doing this in a higher resolution so everything's easier to see. Now let's look at some of these other smart groups that I've put in here. That's 75 or less. I don't need to look at that. Here is a counter trend. In other words, these stocks are in an uptrend, but now the 3 has gone below the 6. And let's go to the earnings out. What's the difference here? 47 and 41. So I'll go to the earnings out. You can see the earnings are all due in the future. Oh, I'm in the wrong folder here. There we go. 27 securities. I was looking at the wrong thing. Okay, so I'm sorted on raw combo. Cross country healthcare. You can see that this is a counter trend. Here is where it went negative back here, went positive for one day. Right there, didn't follow through. Probably earnings right here. And now we have an accumulation bar, kind of. It was up much higher intraday, but it was sold into during the day. Now looking at the warehouse, you can almost tell this volume was very high, spread was wide, but it closed in the mid. Darn it, let's bring that back up here. Okay. Here it closed mid, volume was high, and the spread was wide. Let's look at Matador Resources. Now here it says that the volume's low, the spread is above average, and it closed very high. Looking at this, you can see that these are all pullbacks or counter trends. This happened 2 days ago on the 3 crossing down through the 6, and the VPOC crossed down 3 days ago. So let's look at it. Okay, had a nice little run. Here's your crossover. Put a crosshair on here. This was the crossover day yesterday. It started failing up here. You can see these small bodied candles, and then oil was up, and then oil reversed, and all of the energy stocks came down. But look what happened on Friday. Low volume test. Now, if oil's up on Monday, more than likely this stock is going to continue higher. Okay, Occidental Petroleum, probably a very similar stock or view with negative candles and a potential reversal low volume test. I'm going to scroll back over here, and the days, look at sort on the VPA signals. Look at all of these that are having tests for supply or an up bar closing near the high. All of these are zeros down here. That means there was a VPA flag today. Let's look at McDonald's. Test for supply. It's in a counter trend. Counter trend happened just yesterday. I'm going to scroll back over here. You can see it's a zero. That means it just happened yesterday, but the VPOC went down 9 days ago. So let's take a look at McDonald's again. No, I'm sorry, the VPOC went positive 9 days ago, right here on this move up, and it hasn't turned negative yet. We're getting a low volume test. Volume is light. Volume's been falling off. It looks like it might be setting up to go again. Okay, let's do one more. I'm just going to stick with the earnings out folder. Pull back near the 50. You can see the number of days ago that the stocks crossed. These are box stocks, of course. And the VPOC is, there's McDonald's again. VPOC is positive on some of these. Let's look at TAP, Molson Brewing Company. Okay. Right here is big gap down, probably on earnings. Bullish candles. It's a white candle. Not truly bullish because of the long upper wick, but we're getting down. Here's another black candle. And then what do we have yesterday? We have a low volume test. This one's got some overhead resistance, but it's near the 50. You can see that right here, and that's the purpose of this. It's going to be somewhere around the 50-day moving average. So let's look at Pilgrim's Pride. Okay, here's the 200, the 100, and the 50 is the blue line. If it's within 5%, I believe, is my requirement, it's down around the 50. But counter trend down near the 50. You can see there's some support in this area if you look back across here. So, in review, these are the box stocks that I'm showing you right now. You may have some of these installed already. And by the way, once you install them, I'm not going to overwrite them at all. So if you, for example, go into the leaders, edit it, I'm using all securities. If you just want to look at, say, 25 securities, just put 25 in there, and then I'll rebuild that. And in the future, I'm not going to be affecting your user smart groups at all. So if you make changes, they're going to stay that way, because my plans are to just provide you with individual smart groups, and you can pick and choose the ones you want. So if I bring this, well, right here, you can see that, well, there were only 41 there. Did I grab the wrong one? No, I didn't grab the wrong one. I clicked on the wrong box. I put 25%, and I meant to click on this one. So you can use all securities, a percentage of the stocks, or the number. And let me redo this. Okay, I'll try it again. 50. So you can limit the number of stocks, and remember, these are all box stocks. These are stocks with earnings growth, and in this PDF that I'm sending you, if you want to know what the box stocks are and how Ian and his group many years ago calculated this, just click on this link and a page will come up in HGSI explaining how the box stocks are designated, what makes a box stock, what is a box stock, or a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. If annual earnings growth for the last 5 years is greater than 50%, and the average of the earnings growth in the most recent 2 quarters compared to the same quarters last year is greater than 100%, it's the most recent 2 quarters, then it's a number 1 box stock. But what it does is it keeps you in stocks that have earnings growth. And also, if you're looking for leaders or counter-trend stocks or pull back near the 50, you know that these are probably all really decent stocks. Okay, that's long enough on this video. I just wanted to explain what I'm doing with these, and I'll send that, give you a link to the PDF, and also I will start a watch list for these videos, which are going to be put up on YouTube.